We'll go through the worksheets provided for the endocrine system from the APR program. There are 3 pages for the worksheets from the program. You need to know these images as well as the features listed for the practical portion of your exam. Before you continue with this video, I strongly encourage you to complete the worksheets on your own. For the best learning opportunity, you must do the work on your own first and then continue with the video. We'll go through the first page. On here we have the adrenal gland in each one of these. One of the larger images, a zoomed in histological view. The adrenal cortex is this distance where the medulla is in here. So we'll draw it in the more zoomed out version. We have the medulla, and the cortex is this light outer region. We also can see the cortex, it's harder to write, in the outer portion, and the dark brown in this upper image is the medulla of the adrenal gland. Within the adrenal cortex, we have 3 distinct zones. We have zona glomerulosa, we have zona fasciculata, and we have zona reticularis. For the exam, you will need to be responsible for knowing the family of hormones from each of these 3 regions, mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids, or androgens, as well as a representative hormone from each of these regions, namely aldosterone, cortisol, or testosterone, as well as knowing their action. On the next page, we'll look into the pancreas. The pancreas is this organ right here, just tucked into the corner of this C-shaped portion of the small intestine. We have a head of the pancreas here, and the tail is over by the spleen. On the histological slide images, the dark purple region are the acini. They make digestive enzymes. The islet of Langerhans are our endocrine portions, and they are these light-colored regions. We can just see them little tiny dots in this really zoomed out view. They're just little tiny white spots, and those are the islet of Langerhans. They have alpha cells and beta cells. The alpha cells release glucagon, and the beta cells release insulin. You need to know their effects on blood glucose. On the final slide, we'll discuss the pituitary gland and the thyroid gland. The pituitary gland, located here, is also found within the skull, located within the sella turcica. It is connected to the brain by a stalk right here, it's covering it both, known as the infundibulum. That's not on this list, but it should be. The hypothalamus is the portion in the brain that the pituitary gland is controlled by. You should know the 2 hormones of the posterior pituitary, as well as 6 of the 7 hormones of the anterior pituitary. Not only should you know their hormones, but you should know what they do. So we have the anterior pituitary over here, and the posterior is on this side. It's easier to spot the posterior because it's more plain looking, but also it's neurologically connected to the hypothalamus, so you often see a more continuous tissue from the posterior pituitary and up the infundibulum. The thyroid, in this case, we have the thyroid here. There's a weird protrusion of the thyroid. It normally isn't shaped with this odd rise. It's normally just your kind of an odd bow tie, but this one has a weird projection that sticks up. But nonetheless, it's still thyroid tissue. When you make a histological slide, you'll see this. When you zoom in more, you'll see this. Follicular cells are the cells that actually form these circles. So we have follicular cells all throughout here. Parafollicular cells are outside of the circles. Follicles is actually what the circles are called. For the thyroid gland, you should know that follicular cells make T3 and T4, which affect metabolism, targets the mitochondria of cells. Parafollicular cells make calcitonin, which decreases blood calcium.